A very good morning, everyone at Tushita and online. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning. And thank you so much to Venerable Geshe Lhakdor for accepting our invitation to give a teaching. Actually, Geshe La used to live in Delhi many, many years ago. And, we invited His Holiness about 22 times to teach in Delhi in the past. And Venerable Geshe La was a translator for His Holiness the Dalai Lama and came and helped with the translation back then. But it's actually the first time Geshe La comes to the center here. So we are very happy to welcome Venerable Geshe La. And I'll quickly introduce you to Geshe La since it's the first time. I'll quickly read the short bio so we all get an ID. Venerable Geshe Lhakdor was born in Yakra, which is in western Tibet, in 1956. And then he left Tibet in 1962, following the communist Chinese invasion of Tibet, which started in 59. When he was 8 years old, Geshe La received his novice monk ordination, and he attended the Central School for Tibetans in Dalhousie in India from 72 to 76, where he studied specialized Buddhist philosophy in the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics in Dharamsala until 1986. From 86 to 89, Venerable Geshe La served as translator and research assistant here in Delhi at Tibet House, the cultural center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And then from August 89, Venerable Geshe La joined the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, where he has served as religious assistant and translator and has accompanied His Holiness the Dalai Lama to over 30 countries in the US and different parts of the American continent, in Europe, Australia, Africa, and Asia. Beside the Master of Prajnaparamita in 82, Venerable Geshe La also received a Master of Madhyamika in 89 and a Master of Philosophy from the University of Delhi. In 95, Venerable Geshe La received a Geshe degree from Drepung Loseling Monastic University in South India. In 2008, he was also conferred honorary professorship by the University of Delhi, the Department of Psychology. Since 2005, Venerable Geshe La has been serving as the director of the Library of Tibetan Works and Archives in Dharamsala, after serving as His Holiness the Dalai Lama official translator for 16 years. And Venerable Geshe La still occasionally travels with His Holiness as a translator. Geshe La has also co-translated and co-produced several books by His Holiness, including The Way to Freedom, The Joy of Living and Dying in Peace, Awakening the Mind, Enlightening the Heart, and Stages of Meditation, among others. Venerable Geshe La is a trustee of the Foundation for Universal Responsibility, established by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Geshe La is the director of the Central Archive of His Holiness and also a member of the advisory board of the Institute of Tibetan Classics in Montreal, Canada, and honorary professor at the University of British Columbia, also in Canada. So thank you very much, Venerable Geshe La, for accepting our invitation. And I request you to please share the Dharma, and I think the topic for today is the harmony between head and heart, which I think is very relevant, very helpful for our audience today. Thank you so much.
Do I need to use this?
Oh, maybe that would be
no,
yes.
Maybe.
For the people here.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning. Good Sunday morning. So thank you for coming and sacrificing part of your Sunday, which we normally say Gala Day. And yes, I've been invited to come here a few times, but somehow I could not make it. So this is my first visit here, but otherwise I'm connected to Tushita Meditation Center, primarily in Dharamsala, where since some years I've been giving 5-6 days teaching every year. My next teaching is also in April in Tushita Meditation Center in Dharamsala, I think 5-6 days. And recently, when I was in Bodh Gaya, Kabir Saxena, who used to be the director here, he invited me to give some teachings there in the Root Institute. So I was happy to go there and keep to teachings there. But honestly speaking, I have nothing much to teach. It's always a pleasure that like-minded people come together. I think this is more important than somebody pretending, giving some teachings. Like-minded people coming together, which is really like showing force that still there are many good people who want to do good things. That's important, I'm telling you, not only in the teaching venue, but in the society. Because I strongly believe majority of the people are really humble, good, but we are not able to express that strength. And the sin is taken by some rocks, politicians, criminals. They hit the headlines of newspapers. And we are ordinary people like us, sit mum and think, okay, now everything is so horrible, it's all helpless, So that way of thinking we need to change. Because if you look carefully, for example, right today in Delhi, if you try to find out how many criminal activities are done, there may be some here and there. Is a big city with like 20 million population. What is the population, Delhi? 30. Yeah, 30 million population. It is a big, so some crazy nuts will always be there. And even killing maybe one or two there, but not so extensive. But think about all those hundreds and thousands of hospitals where sick people are treated. Think of the homes where children receive love and care from their parents. That is the main display of the real human side. So expression of love and compassion is much more dominant than hatred, anger and jealousy. But because we are not able to show the good force, so the bad force, they start thinking, okay, we can do anything. ये लोग तो कुछ बोलेंगे ही नहीं, चुप रहेंगे. They think that this silent majority are stupid, foolish, they'll not be able to say anything, do anything, so we can play our role, So I strongly think this needs to be changed, so that anybody who wants to do any criminal activity, they need to think 3-4 times before they do. They'll start thinking, okay, it's not just the police, all this neighborhood, they're good people, they are watching, I have to be very careful. You need to send this signal. So this is really I want you to implement as much as possible. Does that make sense? It's very, very important. This is how we can change the society. This is how we can build the real image of India. I have been telling, I consider, just like His Holiness says, I'm son of India, I can also imitate him. I've been living in India since 1962. Imagine, my whole life, more or less. I studied English here, I studied Hindi here, whatever little I know, I studied Buddhism here, primarily in India. So when I am in India, I don't praise India. I try to highlight our shortcomings. When I go outside, I don't talk about bad things about India. I say good things about India. So as you mentioned, in my travel across over 30 countries, some of them maybe many times. America, for example, I must have visited at least 30 times, maybe. Similarly, many European countries I visit. They are short visit, not worth counting. Because if you just go, when I travel with His Holiness, it is always between the hotel and the conference room most of the time, So you can't claim that you really have a lot of experience. But as we say, face is the index of mind. Sometimes you can figure out the situation there. So for development of a country, few things are very, very essential. One, human intelligence, which is there in India. All the great Buddhist teachers, including Buddha, Nagarjuna, Asanga, Baba Viveka, Arya Deva, Shanti Deva, all these great stalwarts, heavyweight lifters from India. Recently, when I visited Bodh Gaya and went around for a pilgrimage, I was able to figure out that Buddha had, of course, got enlightened there. Similarly, I visited that Mahakashapa, place on a hill. To reach there, you need to climb 1,680 steps, which is around 2 hours travel by car from Bodh Gaya. Then you reach at the foot of the hill. Then you need to climb this 1,680 steps, quite high. I said, today or never. So with my cousins and other friends, I said, I'm going to make it. So let us go slowly, we'll make it. So we all made it. And one of my friends who was traveling with me, I said, this is the highlight of the visit, you see. So the point that I'm making is all this great Nagarjuna, all these great masters have visited Bihar. So what I'm trying to say is we are the follower or inheritor, or whatever you want to call it, of those great stalwarts. So we should follow their example, not examples of some rogue politicians who is trying to tear the country apart. Really, we should show I have always been telling my Indian friends, especially the youths, I've been telling them, in order to protect the country, you need everything. I understand that, including ballistic missiles or F-15, 16, whatever, all those things you need. But the real greatness of India should be shown in the soft power, not the hard power. Soft power means power of culture, power of human thinking, philosophy. And that is why His Holiness the Dalai Lama has always been repeatedly saying about his 4 big commitments. The first commitment, he says, I am a human being, so I have a responsibility towards all human beings. So there he is working very hard to improve the basic human values, which has nothing to do with a particular religion. So therefore some schools have already started teaching the sea learning. Sometimes we call it secular ethics, but it basically sea learning is easier term, less controversial than secular ethics. I mean, look at this way of thinking, His Holiness way of thinking. As a human being, our responsibility is towards all human beings. We have a responsibility from Buddhist perspective to all sentient beings, but all sentient beings, including the birds and animals, there's nothing much we can do. We can do a little bit, but nothing much. At least in terms of giving education, there's nothing we can do. So our, whether you like it or not, the one where you need to constantly keep in touch is our fellow human beings. So teaching basic human values. Because we are born needing those basic human values. We live with these basic human values. It's very crucial. Second, he said, I'm a religious person, I'm a Buddhist. Therefore, my job is to bring unity with all religions. And he clearly said it is stupid to say any particular religion is the best religion. To think or say that my religion is the best religion is stupid. And he gave a wonderful example by saying, for example, you can't go to the market, a drugstore, and say this medicine is the best medicine. What do you mean by that? You cannot pick up just one medicine, say this is the best medicine because this is very costly. So long as that medicine has nothing to do with your illness, that medicine, however costly it is, has nothing to do with you. So if you are suffering from headache, then the medicine for headache. From diarrhea, medicine for diarrhea. So that particular medicine is best for you, but that doesn't mean that is best for others who have no headache, who have no diarrhea. So you can say this is best for me because I'm right now having headache, right? Best for me, but doesn't mean it's best for everybody. Someone else needs something else. And similarly, going to a big department store or mall, if you're going there looking for shoes, then that is the best for you. But other commodities are needed by others. They are good for others, you see. So you can't just pick up one religion and say this is the best. So religious pluralism, considering the diverse mental needs and dispositions of people, respecting their, it's like family members sitting over the dinner table or lunch table. The father says, I like bread. The mother says, I like rice. Children says, we like soup or sweet, something like that. So let them eat whatever they like. You can't fight. The father can't say that since I like bread, you should all eat bread. Sometimes this is happening in many countries, unfortunately, forcing other people to do what they think is the best, stupid, wrong. Right? So bringing religious harmony. Religion is supposed to be the cure for many of human illnesses. Wrong way of thinking. But that religion itself becomes a poison, then there's no cure. Many wars have been fought in the name of religion, trying to impose their belief system on the mind of other people, saying that you are heretic, you don't believe, you'll go to hell. If you want to really go to heaven, this is the path. We should never say things like that. You have every right to teach, then let people choose what they want. Right? And then third, he says, I'm a Tibetan, so I have a responsibility towards Tibetans. In your case, the Indian, you have special responsibility for Indians. That's understandable. That doesn't mean that because you are a Tibetan, you have to work for Tibetans, you should ignore the need of other people also, again here also, you see. So in that context, saying my country first can be interpreted in many ways. Right? Of course, you need to take care of your country, but you need to show respect and consider the needs of other countries also. So emphasizing too much just my country, I don't know how good it is. I mean, this is my small thinking. Many big leaders are saying things like that, but I'm just throwing it for you to think. Then his fourth commitment is revival of ancient Indian tradition. So this is the main point that I'm trying to say. Revival of ancient Indian tradition. When His Holiness the Dalai Lama talks about revival of ancient Indian tradition, he's not talking about reviving all the blind faiths and rituals, Unfortunately, for me, many of this doesn't make any sense today. We need to do away with many of this blind faith-based, unquestioning faith, no relevance at all, be it from Indian tradition, from Tibetan tradition, whatever you see. Right? So His Holiness is talking primarily about the science of mind, which in the Indian philosophical system is very, very rich. Especially the Buddhist tradition, which is of course Indian tradition, is very rich about the function of human mind, how to control the emotions, how to regulate the emotions, how to empower the positive emotions, how to denigrate the negative emotions. Very rich. Then plus the art of logic and reasoning, Tark Shastra. It's very strong in India. Nowadays, I don't know how much it is there. Nowadays, unfortunately, so you have a very important role because you're all highly educated. Because in village areas, gaon mein, still they follow the blind faith. Don't use their brain. आंख मूंद करके हमारा religion ये है बोलकर आंख मूंद करके just close their eye and follow, and that is manipulated by the politicians. Not just politicians in India, but from everywhere they will misuse it, right? So there we can play like you have a school there, which I was told is doing very good job. So I don't know the background of all of you. Many of you must be already doing many, many good things. This is very important to change the mindset of Indians. So the use of logic and reason and the human mind, psychology, where we talk about shamat and vipassana, which is probably the greatest gift that India can give to others. आजकल हम लोग योग दिवस मना रहा है ना, World योग दिवस, which is very good, but we need to go deeper and then study more about this shamat and the vipassana. This is very, very detailed in the Buddhist philosophy, which is now preserved in the Tibetan tradition. Right? So therefore, I use this term for today's talk, harmony of head and heart, where I am saying that we need these two things. One, you should think for yourself, head. Head, you use your head. Means you use your human intelligence. Scrutinize. Use your discursive thought. Develop this discriminating awareness. And once you precisely analyze things by yourself, not simply following a tradition, even Buddha, listen to it, study it, but how far this sounds true, you also have similar brain like the Buddha. Use it. And when you use it in its deeper level, deeper state, you will be able to figure out how closely we are all connected, how fragile our life is, how the whole universal system works with harmony. Look at the movement of the planetary systems. Gola Gola Ghum Raha hai. Why they are circling on the same route. Similarly, the function of human body. If you study text like the Kala Chakra in Buddhist Tantric tradition, Kala Chakra, there is a cycle of time, right? So the purpose of receiving that teaching or studying that text is it clearly says there is a wheel of time applicable to the external world, like the planetary system, the sun, moon, star, and so forth. And there is also a system rhythm that is in our human body. And these two are contaminated, polluted, especially in today's world. And the way to refine it and purify it is to follow the third Kala Chakra, which is called external Kala Chakra, is the external world. Then internal Kala Chakra is your psychophysical system. And then in order to purify this polluted two levels of Kala Chakra, you must follow the third Kala Chakra, which is the other Kala Chakra, alternative system, which means the process of understanding how they function, how you can purify it, how you can purify your negative emotions and things like that. Right? So there's all there. So basically what I'm trying to say is the root cause of all the ills and problems is there in our mind. It's nowhere else. And the solution also is in our mind, nowhere else. This morning in the newspaper, I was reading about misuse of artificial intelligence. So there also I read that whether it's artificial intelligence or any other technological product, the first cause is human thinking. It comes from there. So you can't just blame the products. So unless you set right the first cause, you can never set right anything. Right? So therefore, when I talk about this universal, harmonious system that is operating everywhere, on every level, we have to go very, very detailed. I even myself don't know much, but you need to explore more how everything functions in a rhythmic, harmonious, or kind of symphony, In a way, we can say the whole universe is dancing with us with a symphony, and we are part of the dancer, part of the player in that harmony. So that's why in Buddhism we talk about the role you can play to make that system run properly. Right? You have a role. Here we are not talking about a creator or a god or anything like that. It's a universal system. It is there. And who is it that made your life? It's not a god. It is you. You and certain circumstantial factors came together, and now in the future also, how you are going to fare, it's you, how you play the role, how you dance, how you purify your negative emotions, how you cultivate positive emotions, how you strengthen yourself. It's in your hand. And this reminds me the beautiful words by a Tibetan teacher who says there is nobody who will catch hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. There's nobody who will catch hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. कौन कर सकता है? बुद्ध भगवान भी नहीं कर सकता है. Buddha also cannot do that. And God, of course, we don't believe. Right? Likewise, there's nobody who will catch hold of your leg and drag you into hell. Your happiness, your suffering is in your hand. You should trust this. And it's not enough to know that your happiness and your suffering is in your hand. Having known that fact, now you need to lead a life which is true to this understanding. And that is not easy for all of us because we are addicted to so many small things. We are pulled into all directions by small temptations all around. So it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I'm not saying impossible. Right? So there we need focus, analytical meditation, and then concentrate to achieve that level. If you do it, if you do that, drastic transformation will take place. If you don't concentrate, pay full attention, achievement will be more or less invisible. And then you will end up doing the feel-like practice. I call it feel-like practice. Most of us end up doing the feel-like practice. Yes, many kiya 5 minutes meditation. I did 5 minutes meditation. I attended this retreat just for the sake of counting. As a person, not much transformation because you don't work upon yourself. So that's why the Buddha said, I have shown you the path to liberation. Liberation is up to you. No one else can do much. They can help you a little bit here and there, not much. Your mother can't do, your father can't do, however good they are. Unfortunately, in many cases, they are also not good. So many problems in the family, I know. Right? So even in the case of really, really loving father, mother, brother, sister, they can help you to some extent, not much, unless you take care of yourself. That's why we say, bye, take care. Nobody says, bye, I'll take care of you. Buddhist teaching is there. I mean, I'm amazed to see some of this relevance of some of this, Buddhist teachings. Bye, every time you say, bye, take care. They will also say, bye, take care. There's one thing that I noticed very strongly. The another thing that I noticed very strongly was the excess baggage at the airport. You see, Buddha had taught us a long time before that don't collect too many useless materials. They are all useless excess baggage. He has been saying this 2,500 years before. Nobody was listening, or hardly anybody was listening. So today at the airport you are told, madam, you can carry only 15 kilos, no more than that. Excess baggage, you have to charge. Now if you don't listen, then at the time of the death, they'll say, okay, you can't carry anything. Forget about excess, or you can't carry anything. And now the security is so tight at the time of the death. When we came into this world, at least we came with this body, right? Now when you go, it really looks like me. Somebody is saying, when you go, maybe you are very cunning. You may be hiding something, under your skin. So leave your body behind. Sharir bhi chhod ke jana padta hai na. This is the truth that the Buddha taught. I mean, so amazing. The teaching that Buddha gave was so amazing. Right? So the point that I'm making is, I'm not asking you to, give up everything also. Giving up everything, I'll tell you a story. Have you heard about Milarepa? How many of you heard about Milarepa? You heard how many? Good. The most famous saint in Tibet, who is said to have achieved enlightenment in one lifetime, That can be interpreted a little bit, but the hardship that he had undergone is unbelievable. Nowadays, the historians say about Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi is such an important figure that no one could believe in the future generation that such a person has moved in blood and flesh. But this, compared to Milarepa, nothing. He is said to have did all his practices in the snow mountain in Tibet, completely naked, running away from human beings, like a wounded animal. Can't believe. From where he got this strength, stamina. I mean, this shows the human spirit can do anything. He was going naked from mountain to mountain. Now, this is a long story. Some of you must know the story, but otherwise, you buy the biography, read it. Unbelievable, very, very encouraging. So the point that I'm making is, it's because he had undergone such strong penance, or I don't know the right term, hardship, endured some of his ascetic practice. Because of that, he was able to achieve something. That's the point I'm making. So in our own case also, we may not be able to work like the Buddha, because we have so many excuses. Mera brother ko dekhna hai, sister ko dekhna hai, pita ko, I have to look after my father, my sister, this, that, and even otherwise you have so many excuses. But at least you should make your time, make effort, do some meditation in the morning, some study in between, things like that. Do on a regular basis. Find out your own emotions. I'm telling you, you will see the change if you do that. If you don't have a plan, like budgeting, of spiritual practice, then real progress will never be seen. Right? Because at the end of the day, unless you help yourself, nobody can help you. That's what I'm saying. And if you help yourself, you can help others also. So helping yourself is helping others. Helping others is helping yourself. Don't see these two things disconnected. In my own case, it's a long story, but I don't want to tell you my personal story, which may be not useful, but I really wanted to tell you that maybe my karma or whatever, I ended up in a monastery, in a school, didn't get much time to spend with my relatives and friends. First of all, I came as a refugee. Then, with the help of His Holiness, all Tibetan children got school education, right? So I went to school. Then after I finished my school, then I went to a monastery. I came studying there, didn't spend much time with my family member or things like that. Then when I was a little bit grown up in the monasteries, I used to think that now in this way I'm always like in a school, in a monastery, I'm not able to help my mother and relatives, things like that. I used to think like that. But then later on, I found that my own commitment to my study and religious or whatever study proved to be the best way of helping them. Because comparing to some of my cousins, they spent their time with their parents. So yes, it's good. Sometimes they are helping them. Sometimes the parents have to help them because they also get sick. In my case, they don't have to worry. Now I'm in a stage where I'm really able to guide the family members, not only spiritual practice, but even otherwise how you should live a harmonious, happy, successful life. You can do all this with proper planning, right? So therefore, the best way of repaying kindness of anybody is strengthening yourself with these positive emotions, right way of living, right way of thinking, helping your relatives, members not to engage in any negative deeds, which will bother them in the future lives, or even in this life, in the end of their life, they may be in a prison or something like that, Galat raste par chalne se. So that's the point. So therefore, if you develop this understanding with the head and see the reality, then you are able to see everything. It's harmoniously blended. And when you see this very intricate, close connection, then naturally you'll develop this feeling of relatedness, connectedness to others. Even in your body, forget about other people. Even in your body, your mind and your body are connected, of course. Now, if your mind and your body, these two are not in harmony, you are going to get a big problem. Because if your mind doesn't know how to take care of the body and consume endless chocolates, I should not be looking towards you, or things like that, right? You'll get sick, suffer from diabetes or whatever, all problems. Because much of the problem, much of physical illnesses that we see today in the world, be it hypertension, be it diabetes, be it overweight, whatever, it's all because of using endless junk food. This is again another very practical area where I want you to do something in your own level, in your own community, family, wherever. Unless we do, things will never change. So junk food basically means too much sweet and too much salt. And of course packaged food. है ना? इसको reduce करो. Because what is produced in the market, they are sold, presented in a very presentable form. Think about the fruit juice. It looks very nice outside, but inside it may be 7 months, 10 months old. It does not smell because they put chemicals. So see our intelligence. Where is our intelligence now? We are like consuming everything. Wasting your money, wasting your health, everything. On the one hand, you work like a donkey, earning the money. On the other hand, you spend all this money because of your poor health. Especially in some Western countries. Maybe in India, right now, your mental frame of mind is still relatively okay comparing to many other countries, so-called developed countries. If I'm not wrong or biased. In many developed countries, they really work hard. That's why on the one hand, they have a lot of material progress. But on the other hand, they work so hard and then they get sick, mentally dysfunctioning. Then the hard-earned money that they have to give it in the hand of a psychotherapist. So therefore, in the West, in many countries, I've seen psychotherapy is a booming business. That's why once, I was being interviewed at a dinner table by some young people several years back. So I was sharing something like this. This young gentleman seems like very clever. He looked at me. Why don't you stay here? I said, what do you mean? I said, you will become an advisor to all the big corporates and you will earn millions and millions of dollars. Because people don't know this kind of thinking. You see? So psychotherapy is a booming business. So all I'm saying is, it's not how much you earn, but how you spend, how you live your life. Right? Your life should not be, I can spend a lot of time talking about this, to be busy, is to be unnecessarily extremely busy is one of the main cause of destroying your happiness. In the name of being busy, you are not with yourself. You're always running and chasing something. How can you be happy when you're not with yourself? So one thing that you need to learn is, forget about living in harmony with others for a while. The most important thing is you need to learn to live with yourself, because you are the only person in the world with whom you have to spend your whole life, every second, every moment, every hour. Not with your so-called other brothers, sisters, husband, wife. So if you don't know how to live with others, yesterday in the talk also I said the same thing. The problem with this, it has been a problem in the past and a very strong problem today is people don't know how to live with themselves and also don't know how to live with others. ये तो बहुत बुरी बात है ना, right? So therefore the point I'm making is, if your mind is really not in the right frame, you can get addicted to all many things that is now sold in the market today. Honestly speaking, today everything is for sale, including human values. Right? So therefore, your physical health will improve only if your mental health is good. Because it is the mind that controls you. It is the mind that tells you what to do, what not to do. So if you have an educated, enlightened mind, you will take the right food, you will take the right rest, things like that. Then there will be no problem. Sickness will not come like that. It comes because of your venturing into unnecessary areas. Right? So therefore, you are in charge. Be in charge, not let other people take in charge of yourself. Right? So harmony of your body and mind. How many of you with your family members? How many of you with the society, with the whole world is the most important thing. And in order to develop this harmony, you need a certain openness of mind. We should be free to think and see the reality, including the religion you follow. Because in the case of most of us, we follow a particular religion or set of doctrines and thinking because that's what you're told by other people. We are unable to see the relevance of that today. Religion is not our boss. Religion is slave to mankind. It is to serve us, not the other way around. Right? So therefore use this human intelligence, and you have all these five senses intact. The senses are a little bit, betrayal, not necessarily always reliable, but to some extent you can rely on that. But how much correct input is given by the senses is dependent upon how much the mind intakes things. What is the capacity of the mind to see the reality as it is? Now, when I say see the reality as it is, I'm not talking about reality presented by different religions or other things. There also you can listen, but still we should observe and experience it and see how far this sounds good. And you have every right to reject whoever has told that. If it doesn't make sense to you, you have every right to not accept it. No need to criticize, but you have every right to. That's what something like Mahatma Gandhi's non-cooperation movement. Right? So harmony among different religious traditions. Crucial. If there's no harmony, there will be no economic growth, no success, nothing. If there is no fundamental human values, the society will go into the junkyard very easily. I once read the story of something that was put in a board outside a university in Africa, where it clearly says if you don't give proper value education, then you will, in the school, universities, you will produce engineers who will construct house which will very soon collapse, and you will produce doctors who will kill people with the wrong medicine. You see, it's the fundamental kind of love, compassion, care, sense of responsibility. If that is there, everything will be so wonderful. The doctor normally, just by being with the doctor who says very kind word, welcomes you with a smile, that heals almost half of your illness. You see? So therefore, in the Tibetan system of medicine, every morning before they go to their respective work, they come together, do some prayer and meditation, and develop the motivation that today, whatever kind of patients come, I will happily receive them and help them. That tradition is still practiced in many clinics, including the one in Delhi. So those things must be there, right? Yeah, I think there's enough. I'm just drifted, saying all kind of things. I don't know what I'm saying, but anyway. So let us discuss. If some questions, we'll try to discuss more, right?
If anybody has a question, we can pass this microphone so people online can also hear. And
Not necessarily question, but if you have some input, comment, please do so. So this will benefit many others.
And all those who are joining online, you also have the possibility to unmute your microphone. If you click at the bottom left on the audio button, then we can hear you.
So I find myself like to make any decision, I use my head first, and then maybe sometimes the heart comes in later. So just want to ask you, like, how do you make a decision? It could be like picking up this water bottle or drinking something, or even bigger decisions. So how do you make a decision using the head and the heart according to Buddhism, according to the Buddhist perspective?
It's not that easy. I'm not talking about deeper philosophical subjects, but even when you go to the market, buy one dozen banana. It happened with me, although I'm giving talks saying use your brain, things like that. When I go to the market, भैया एक डजन बनाना दे देना, अच्छा वाला छांट के दे देना, तो वो तो बोलेगा ही. He will say yes. So I was saying that you go to the fruit market and say, give me one dozen of banana, please give me the good ones. Why you are saying give me the good ones? You have your eye, you see, scrutinize, see things. But it doesn't happen. We trust people, give them. And then he will say, yes, of course. And you take it. And when you reach home, you will find at least 2-3 bananas spoiled already. So therefore, start from there, not about deeper philosophy. Pick up that habit of where I am going, what I am drinking, is it necessary, not necessary, things like that. You know?
Namrata ji, please go ahead.
I wanted to ask that as a Dharma student, while there is cognitive understanding of interdependence, impermanence, causes and condition, but so even with the cognitive understanding, how do you bring it into daily life? Because there still is hurt, disappointment, anger. So how do you overcome that and even get emotive understanding of these concepts beyond just cognition?
Yeah, there is a beautiful teaching by Shantideva, a great teacher, Indian teacher who came in the 8th century. And he says, if it is something you can change, don't worry, because you can change. If it is something you can't change, no use worrying, because by worrying you can't change. So when you cognitively find out the things that you can change, things that you cannot change, then there is not much room for getting frustrated. Because frustration is not the solution. Disappointment is not the solution. So yesterday in the talk also I was telling people that if I want to summarize the Buddha's teaching, he is basically saying, do all those things which is beneficial to you. And don't do any of those things which is not beneficial to you. So that means unnecessarily getting frustrated, angry. If that really benefits, then of course get angry, get disappointed, get frustrated, but that's not the solution. It will actually worsen the situation, because when you're upset, then it clouds your thinking power. The mind becomes hazy. You are not able to make clear decision. So with calmness of mind, you can make a better decision, right? So another point that I really mentioned, which I always expected should be impactful, is that through cognitively, when you find sooner or later we all have to die, right? So once you develop this clear understanding and conviction, then you don't see any reason to be, to mistreat other people, to exploit and bully other people, right? For example, if there are 3 people who are going to die tonight, then within this short time you realize now there's no use we try to bribe or exploit, because you're all to dying. So it's the only difference in time. Okay? Acha ji, Namrata ji.
I would like to ask one more question. As you were saying that we should use our mind to analyze critically things and then maybe take decision on that. But sometimes when I observe myself, I understand that few things are not good for. For example, if I just scroll on my phone for a long time, I understand that it's a form of addiction, but I'm not able to control that action. There are a lot of things similar to that. So how would you suggest?
Yeah, the very reason you do your Dharma practice is to do away with many of these addictions. We're using the word addiction, not just habit. So, in the Buddhist teaching, we repeatedly talk about meditation, which basically means getting habituated with good things and give up the addiction. That's the reason. Because this addiction will waste your time, waste your energy, waste your money, and in many cases bring more suffering. So with this realization, cut down. If not possible to stop completely, cut down this addiction, reduce this addiction. So sometimes when we teach meditation, then we say meditation is a technique to slowly get back your sanity. Slowly getting back your sanity. There's so much insanity because of addiction. You cannot drive away with a push button. That's why we say there's no push button enlightenment. So sanity has to come slowly, repeatedly, with persistent practice. So then you should also think I'm a grown-up person. I'm not anymore a small child. So why am I acting like a small child, wasting my time? Because you, as I said earlier, we have obtained this very precious human life, this amazing brain. This amazing brain should not be used for petty, useless things, right? Especially as I said, in India, so many intelligent people are there. They focus and use your intelligence to develop greater things, more beneficial things, right? Yeah.
Geshe-la, I would want to ask one question, which I face quite frequently in day-to-day life. How to deal with people in situations when I know that that person who has come to take help from me because they really need, but I also know that this person has done very wrong with me in the past sometime. So there, the conflict of doing something to help them overlaps with the anger towards them. How do I deal with that?
This is called love-hate relationship. This is something like love-hate relationship. So on the one hand, with your teaching and practice, you want to do something good, but that person takes advantage of you, so you're not able to. This is really like I don't know what kind of example I should give. It's really like, animal catching its prey, but it doesn't kill it immediately and also don't let go. So I think compassion and love does not mean you get obsessed with any object. There is a difference between the unconditional love taught in Buddhism and the love that is understood in the ordinary society, right? So unconditional love means you express their love and compassion to others, not because that person is closer to you or you know them or things like that, but because this person also, like you, want happiness, don't want suffering. Because of that, you are helping. But at the same time, what is even more important is, as we say, instead of giving the hungry person a fish, teach him how to fish. Right? So therefore, at the end of the day, all the problems are because of lack of knowledge. Giving material things is good, but that will not solve the problem of any person in the long run, unless they themselves are able to stand on their feet. Even in the situation where the person is in a very desperate situation, will never be able to stand on their feet. Still they are, the help should be done in such a way that that person doesn't mentally become a burden to you, mentally become dependent on you, right? So therefore, I mean, even when we practice giving, we always think, oh, I am the giver. He is the receiver, or in worse terms, he is the beggar. So I'm superior. Their way of thinking can also come. That will also bring problem. Just to make a show in front of people, you give something. That's not real giving. So therefore, even in the practice of giving, it is taught in Buddhism, you should know to whom to give, to whom not to give, when to give, when not to give. And the material, what kind of material you should be giving, what kind of materials you should not be giving. All those things are there. So therefore, to make a long story short, the point I'm making is, in human relationship, a distance must be maintained, whether it's you, the giver, and to the person, the receiver, or with your family members, anybody. It's very important to keep some distance. I was once reading this amazing book on meditation by Kamalashila, Stages of Meditation, which later I translated and according to the teaching of His Holiness and published it, Stages of Meditation. There Kamalashila says, when it comes to human relationship, it should be like your relationship with fire. If you go too close to the fire, it will burn you. If you stay too far away from the fire, you will not receive the heat, the warmth. Right? So luckily, to some extent, in my case, maybe my condition, my relationship with other people is a little bit like that. I will not say completely, but a little bit like that. So because of that, I'm able to live quite freely and happily and successfully. I have a number of people I know, but I don't have many people who can I say, this is a very close friend to me. My hand and glove friend as a name refers. Maybe my weak point from the societal norms, but from other areas, I'm free. Right? The Buddha also, he left all his family, kingdom, everything went away. But he did not remove the tie completely. He came back to help them, teach them, but he did not get stuck there. Musafir hai, chalde jana hai, chalde raho, without getting attached to anybody. Yeah.
I really enjoyed this observation of to be unnecessarily busy is one of the biggest causes of unhappiness and illness.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to digest that and understand that better. And so I would be grateful if you could speak a little bit more to that, especially if you think in all your experiences and different places you've been, if you think it's a symptom of modern times of of technology, or if it's something that you've seen that isn't just a symptom of modern times, and also if you just have more comments on that observation. Thank you.
There are two ways of getting busy. One is getting busy for really, really beneficial activities. for you. When I say beneficial, I'm not talking about how much money you earn. Be very clear about that. So you should be busy in terms of benefiting many others, benefiting the nation, benefiting your family. You can be busy. But at the same time, realizing that you are an ordinary human being and there is a limit you can work. That is why we say the time to take rest is when you have no time to take rest. Right? So people, as I mentioned about this, the booming psychotherapy business, you see. So that will be the end of the story if you unnecessarily run around, Unfortunately, today people, I don't know how to say this, people hardly think for themselves. They are running because everybody is running. If you run where everybody is running, you know where you will reach? Hell. You'll go to hell because everybody goes to the hell, not many goes to the heaven. I'll tell you this story, very interesting story. That story says, never be too bothered about your life, because in your life either you will remain healthy or you will get sick. If you remain healthy, of course, no need to worry, right? So the issue is if you get sick. Then it says if you get sick, then there are two possibilities. One, you will get recovered or you will die. If you get recovered, no problem, right? If you die, then this is an issue. Then it says if you die, either you will go to heaven or go to hell. If you go to heaven, it's fine, wonderful, right? But if you go to hell, also no problem, because all your friends have already reached there. They'll say, hello, Michael, when did you come? How are you? You came with all your family members? Or So the point that I'm making is, unfortunately, majority of the people, they don't think, don't study, don't practice. So they'll go, unfortunately, not to a nice place. And forget about this invisible hell, but in the society also, see where majority of the people are going. And because of that, what a mess we have created. Be it the air pollution, be it the water pollution. This is our product. Forget about hell, heaven, forget about these things. What have we created? Is the water drinkable? Even in America, I once asked this question in a 5-star hotel. I asked the person there, can I drink from the tap? He said, maybe. With a shrug of the shoulder, maybe. It's not so sure. In a 5-star hotel. So first use your human intelligence to live a normal life. Normal life means life as you got when you were born. When you were born, how you were born? You were born laughing or crying? Huh? Although today we say happy birthday, it was probably only Buddha who said birth is suffering. Who is right, who is wrong, you can figure out. When the child is born, the first thing the child does is crying or laughing. Huh? Crying, right? By crying, the child is asking for something. That's the only language that the child knows at that time. What do you think the child is asking? Deep discourse on Buddhism? A lengthy discourse on Christianity? No. The child is asking for somebody's love, affection, kindness. Plus, this is I'm adding today. Plus, probably the child is asking, I need fresh air. Otherwise, he can't breathe. Fresh water. So that's what I'm saying. That's normal life. Now, the so-called educated people are living almost like abnormal life. Water is polluted, air is polluted, This is because of our fascination with the shiny gadgets and what the things that we see around. We think, wow, so wonderful, amazing. All this nice light, so wow. And you are unable to see the beautiful things inside. Right? So with this kind of awakening, you can figure out where I should be busy, where I should not be busy. The point is no need to run in the direction where everybody is running. Everybody is running in a democratic country we call democracy, which means voice of the majority. The voice of majority means uneducated voice. So the democracy in its negative sense, government by the cattle, for the cattle, of the cattle. I'm a student of political science. The right definition is government of the people, by the people, for the people, provided the people are educated. Otherwise, democracy is called mobocracy, which we see on and off in the streets. Right? So again, education is important. Right? So therefore, we should be even more busy in cultivating these inner qualities than running around like Angulimala. How many of you have heard about Angulimala? Yeah, so you know that very well. So I call to these people Angulimala. The Angulimala shouted to Buddha saying, "Stop, don't you realize who is chasing you?" And Buddha smiled and stopped and said, "It's not me who is not stopping, it's you who is stopping. You already killed 999 people. What did you achieve?" So we are like that, hungry, we wanting to get something. Even if you become like the richest person in the world, the richest, so-called richest people are still running. When are they going to take rest? I have no idea. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Venerable, when you started the talk today, you started with discussing the history and the ancient India, where the philosophers had brilliant accuracy regarding logical thinking and talking about the self and how the mind works. Now, if I would bring into picture Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti, when after having realized emptiness, I do not find any sources that tell me what was their life like after that realization. So for a person who has realized that emptiness, what is next?
Not only after realizing emptiness, but even after developing some understanding about emptiness, your life will make a transformative change. Now here you need to understand the meaning of emptiness a little bit. Emptiness, number one, is not equal to nothingness. Emptiness is, in a way, fullness. The good news for our Indian brothers and sisters is, as far as I know, both the mathematical concept of zero and the philosophical concept of shunyata are invented in India. Now, in the case of the mathematical concept of zero, do you think it has any value? Or it has no value at all? Recently I was reading another piece where it says, it shows the value of zero. The zero tells all the other figures, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You just go ahead. I'll follow you. And I'll make you sense. So see beautifully. This 0 when follows 1, it becomes what? 10. Follows 2, it becomes 20. So, similarly, in the philosophical area also, as I said, emptiness is not equal to nothingness. Emptiness means empty of independent existence.
Understood.
That needs to be understood. Why this needs to be understood? Because although there is no independent existence, there is no permanent existence, but our ignorant mind tends to believe what is impermanent as permanent, what is interdependent as independent. The whole nation in the world are saying, I want to be an independent country. I mean, that's a political thing. But in the true sense of the term, especially in today's world, no country can become completely independent. Very heavily dependent upon each other. Right? So now, the point is, when you are interdependent upon each other, naturally you need to think not only about yourself, but also on those where you are dependent. Just like this hand, when your leg gets hurt, the hand has to go down to help it, because these two are interdependent. You cannot say, oh, you leg, you're different, I'm hand, I have nothing to do with you. Leg is leg, hand is hand, but the leg is carrying the hand, therefore when the leg gets hurt, the hand has to go down to, put a bandage or massage, whatever. Right? So it is because of this interconnected reality we need to think about others, develop love and compassion. Number one. Number two, from a more deeper point of view, emptiness means that things are interdependent. You won't find anything which has independent existence. Whether it's an impermanent phenomena or permanent phenomena, you will never be able to lay your hands upon an object and say, yes, I found it. There was a time when scientists were saying, we were using our modern technology and everything, will find out the fundamental block of all the particles. Yes, we found it. This is the subtlest, smallest. Have they found it? Now today they are talking about a wave-particle duality. When they thought this is a wave, turns out to be a particle. When they thought this is a particle, turns out to be a wave. So basically, I'm talking about the things coming out with interdependent connection. Right? So therefore, this your body also, you develop too much attachment to it. You feed it, you look after it, too much obsession you have it. But if you look carefully, the so-called your body is just a designation. The so-called you, whatever your name, is a designation. This is a designation. I call it microphone. I could have called it an elephant right in the beginning. If somebody had given a name called elephant, there's no problem today. Everybody will say, now I will speak through the elephant. now we are all laughing, you see. So it's all play of the word. And why we use this word? Because just to communicate. Just to communicate to each other. And it is through communication that we are able to, again, to come back to the main point, it's through communication we are able to live harmoniously and work together and, fight against all the challenging situations. That is human history. Right? So in other words, when you really, really understand emptiness, everything that you are experiencing is like a dream. If it is like a dream, then is it worth getting too obsessed with it? Is it worth to develop too much hatred and anger? It's not worth. Like for example, in the dream, if you get a beautiful dream of winning $1 crore or euros, when you're dreaming, you're very happy. Yes, $1 crore, I'm rich overnight. Because you're dreaming right now, you're enjoying. But when you wake up, is there even $1? €1? Nothing. But will you feel sad? No, because I was dreaming. Similarly, right now we are dreaming. So you're saying, oh, this is my relative, this is a friend, this is an object of attachment, this is an object of hatred, pushing, pulling, and all those things, because you are not awake. That's why the epithet that we use for Buddha is the fully enlightened one, awakened one, which means we are sleeping. Right? So in this sleeping world, we have enemies to fight, friends to look after, so many things are there. But we are completely fully awake. Right? Then you're liberated from all those obsessions. So there will be, as a result of your understanding or realizing emptiness, there will be, at least to start with, less attachment, less anger, less jealousy. This body, scientifically now you can demonstrate and show this is nothing, just a bubble. Small cells and other things are moving around, and it's dying every day. And it is scientifically said that after every 7 years, the person goes complete transformation of all the physical realities that we have. But still we say, this is me. It developed too much obsession. So that doesn't mean you should not take care of yourself, because in the dream also, you want to get good dream, right? So like that, you take care of yourself, but don't get too obsessed. Then you will be free from many problems. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
What, according to you, is everlasting happiness? I mean, when you are young, you think about things, what you want, and that will bring you happiness. But as you age, you start to think differently. Like major things in your life are not in your control, like your life, illness, or death. I mean, how much karma is involved from the previous life, like how much life you will have in this life, your age and disease. So is it all pre-decided before you are born about your age? And
No, here the important thing is to understand that karma, the word karma, has no fatalistic notion. Many people say, oh, it's karma, nothing you can do. Oh, it's emptiness, nothing you can do. This is misunderstanding. It's because of emptiness you can do things. Because of its interdependence, you can play the role. If it is completely independent, nothing you can do. It's the other way around. So karma also means action. That means you can perform the actions right now. There may be, of course, interplay of many karmas done in the past or previous year or many years back, things like that. But this doesn't mean that you are helplessly caught with that. You can change it. And then at the end of the day, happiness wins, satisfaction. That when you have done nothing wrong to regret, when you have not practiced any duplicity in life, you may be sick, okay, it's okay. I've done my best. I was not born as a cow or a dog. So I was really lucky. In my case, I'm not enlightened or nothing, but I'm telling people I had a very happy, successful life. I'm saying this despite that we have lost our country, and I was begging when I was a small little child, came into India as a refugee. I was begging with my mother when I was maybe 5-6 years old with my little hand. I have no idea as a small child what I'm doing, but I used to spread my hand and beg. And I could see my mother with tears and push me, don't do this. I remember that very vividly, despite all these upheavals, And even later time, because I don't have much knowledge, we don't have much money. So even when we travel, I used to, stay next to the bathroom in the train with the luggage, the whole night, no sleeping area, all those things, and then standing the whole night in a bus with 50 rupees in the pocket, whatever. I have my story, you see. Despite all this, today when I look back, I say thank the Buddhist teaching, thank His Holiness Dalai Lama and many other factors, that I had a very happy, successful life. No regret, nothing. So that I'm saying this not in the sense that I managed to make so much money. I'm stupid, in that sense. I never worried about money. Not necessarily good because I'm stupid. Sometimes it is better to be a little bit stupid, not too clever, overly clever. Cleverness sometimes bring problems. So in my case, but I never suffered from not having anything to eat or no place to sleep. Yeah. So like that, So I really consider myself happy. So the point that I'm making is not so much about myself, but the point that I'm making is, if you lead your life in such a way, benefiting others, not harming others, being kind, your mind will, whether other people acknowledge it or not, that's not important. You are satisfied. I have really lived like a good human being at the end of the story. At the end of the day, that is what makes you happy. If there's a Buddha, he will understand it. If there's a karma will understand it. Even otherwise, I'm happy. That's important.
Thank you.
So you should not let other people judge. The problem in today's society is people, play different roles, seeing what is the reaction of other people. Whether they will treat me as a scholar or famous person or rich person or not, what kind of clothes I should wear to go to this function, that function. All this hypocrisy, that makes your life miserable, you see. I mean, even non-Buddhists like Einstein, a great thinker, he was invited repeatedly for talks, So one day he was invited to give a talk. The time was about to come, but he was nowhere visible. Then his wife goes to the laboratory where he's working and finds that Einstein is still working there in his pajama. Then she tells Einstein, it's your time to give a talk. And he says, yes, I'm ready. Your pajama. He says, I hope people come to listen to my talk, not to see my pajama. And there are people who come to see pajama, then let them do it, you see. But we are so naive, People start talking about, oh, this is so nice, oh, this is so good, Don't be too dependent upon what other people say. They have nothing to do with you. Don't let other people, what I'm saying is, don't let other people decide your life. You decide your own life. Right? Okay.
Geshe, can we take a few more questions from online?
Yeah, one or two, yeah.
There is Neil. Neil, please go ahead.
Yeah, Geshe, Pranam, I want to know the way to be unangry at the faults of samsara, and I have my own personal faults as well because I'm human.
Yeah, so you've finished your question? Okay. Then anger is not the solution. If it is solving your problem, then it's okay to get angry. But I don't think it will be the solution. I think 2 or 3 years back, a group of, 70-something like Iranians came to Dharamsala. So somebody from Bombay, out of the blue, invited me to give a half-day talk to this Iranian group who came to Dharamsala. So I gave my usual talk. During the question answer session, one Iranian gentleman got up and he said, your talk is very good, but I'm a very angry person. If I'm unhappy, the first thing I do is I hit the person right away without much talking. So what do you say? Then I said, go ahead, continue hitting. And very soon he will learn the lesson. He'll get another person who will hit him very hard. Then only after that he will learn the lesson. Life is like that, you see. So anger is not the solution. Anger, yes, it is true. Anger will give you some extra energy because of which you think that my anger will solve the problem. But you get an extra energy, but that extra energy is essentially blind energy. So it is unsure whether it will hit the target or not. In many cases, it doesn't hit that target. And you can do much better if you maintain your sanity, calmness, and judge carefully. When you judge carefully, your mind is cool and calm, you can say the right thing, you can do the right thing. You know, when you're angry, you have no idea to whom you are hitting, you know. Right? So anger is, in Buddhism, we call anger another poison. So it's not good. And yes, you are right. We all have shortcomings, but so if you get unhappy by thinking about the shortcomings of the samsara and your own shortcomings, then for a while, don't just think about the shortcomings, but also see the good things in you. The good things, even in the samsara, there are some good things also. There are good things with other people also. So don't just think about one thing all the time. Okay? Yeah.
And Roy, did you have a question? I saw that you were raising your hand earlier. And Roy, I mean, I guess that's your family name, right? It just says Roy on Zoom. Do you have a question? Or anybody else? Oh, yes, please
No,
go ahead.
no, I think I just pressed it by error.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
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 Yeah.
Anybody else would like to ask a question online or even here in person? Any more question or remark? Yes.
Okay, we will do this as the last.
Geshe-la, sorry, maybe I missed it, but I remember you mentioning there are two ways of getting busy. And one you said was getting busy to truly benefit
Beneficial
others.
things.
What,
The other thing is,
what is the
other
second
thing
way?
is busy with useless things,
Ale.
harmful things, addiction.
On behalf of everyone here and everyone online, everyone from Tushita, I would like to express a lot of thanks to Venerable Geshe-la for accepting our invitation and sharing these profound wisdom. I think we have a lot of food for thought, and yeah, this is recorded, so personally I will watch this again because even though it was a short time, there are so many different things to think about. So thank you very, very much, and please accept this offering on behalf of Tushita.
Sure.
And I would also like to request Geshe-la to please, every time you pass through Delhi, please come and stop by.
Increase the amount of offering. I will come again and again. This morning when we were meeting there, he said, Geshe-la, come again and again. I said, no, this is my first and last coming visit. Now he has given this offering to me. I will consider coming again. Thank you.
I heard, Geshe-la, you're passing through Delhi in April. I hope we will see you in April. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.